Senator Stephen Armstrong, the main antagonist in 𝗦𝗲𝗫𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, is a character with a complex and controversial ideology. His beliefs are deeply rooted in extreme nationalism, libertarianism and social Darwinism. This video will explore his ideology, his ambitious plans, and how they relate to real-world concepts such as the war economy and Darwinism. Armstrong is highly nationalistic and patriotic. He dreams of reclaiming the American dream by purging corruption and instigating another American revolution. He believes that America has lost its way and needs to return to its roots to become a stronger nation. A significant aspect of Senator Armstrong's ideology is social Darwinism, which is derived from Darwinism but applied to human society and governance. Darwinism is Charles Darwin's theory of biological evolution, which posits that all species develop through natural selection, where traits enhancing survival and reproduction are favored. Social Darwinism extends Darwin's principles into sociology and politics, advocating that only the strongest individuals or groups should survive and thrive in society. This theory misapplies Darwin's ideas by suggesting that societal progress depends on the survival of the fittest, and thus, the weak should be eliminated to create a more robust nation. Armstrong's version of social Darwinism envisions a society where the weak are purged, reflecting his extreme belief in creating a stronger, more resilient nation by adhering to this twisted ideology. 3. Libertarianism. Armstrong supports the idea that individuals should be free to live their own lives and fight their own battles. He opposes the concept of war as a business and wants people to fight for their beliefs rather than for money or resources. This belief aligns with libertarian principles of minimal government interference and individual freedom. One of Armstrong's primary goals is to eliminate corruption within America. He sees corruption as a significant obstacle to achieving his vision of a strong and free society. By purging corrupt elements, he believes he can restore America's greatness. Armstrong's plan was both ambitious and controversial. He aimed to use the military-industrial complex to gain power and become President of the United States. Here is a detailed breakdown of his strategy. Armstrong intended to use terrorist groups and private military companies to initiate a large-scale conflict. This war would create a demand for military equipment, services, and personnel, thereby boosting the economy through increased production and employment. The war would lead to a surge in economic activity as industries related to defense and technology would thrive. This economic boom would be used to gain public support and political leverage. By presenting himself as a strong leader capable of handling the crisis, Armstrong aimed to gain popularity and secure his election as President of the United States. Once in power, Armstrong planned to dismantle the influence of the Patriots, a secret organization controlling global politics, and end the concept of war as a business. He envisioned a society where only the strong would survive, free from corruption. The concept of the war economy is central to Armstrong's plan. A war economy is an economy heavily oriented towards the production and support of military capabilities. It often involves the mobilization of a country's resources and industry to support war efforts, leading to technological advancements but also focusing on defense at the expense of domestic development. Historical examples include World War II. The U.S. economy saw a massive boost due to increased production of military equipment and supplies. The War Production Board oversaw the conversion of industries to war production, leading to advancements in technology and manufacturing. Korean War. The Korean War led to increased military spending in the United States, which helped stimulate the economy. Vietnam War. The Vietnam War had a similar effect, with increased military spending leading to economic growth in defense and manufacturing. Cold War. This period saw continuous military spending by both the United States and the Soviet Union, leading to significant technological advancements. Gulf War and Iraq War. Both wars resulted in substantial government spending on military operations, boosting companies involved in defense contracts. Armstrong's plan to boost the economy through war and gain political power has real-world parallels in the concept of the military-industrial complex, a term popularized by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. This term describes the relationship between a country's military and the defense industry that supplies it, influencing public policy. Example: the Iraq War, 2003. The Iraq War led to significant government spending on military operations, equipment, and services. Companies involved in defense contracts, such as Halliburton and Lockheed Martin, saw substantial profits. political leaders who supported the war gained public support by presenting themselves as protectors of national interests. Critics argue that the war was driven by economic interests and the influence of the military-industrial complex. In Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Armstrong's plan could have had severe consequences for civilians. 1. Increased violence and chaos. Using terrorist groups and PMCs led to widespread violence and instability, putting civilians in constant danger. 2. Economic disruption. The focus on military spending could have led to economic hardship, with essential services suffering from resource shortages. 3. Loss of life and trauma. The conflicts could have resulted in significant civilian casualties, with families torn apart and people experiencing trauma. 4. Erosion of civil liberties. Increased militarization and surveillance would have led to a loss of personal freedoms, with civilians living in fear. 5. Social inequality. Armstrong's survival of the fittest ideology could have increased social inequality, with vulnerable populations suffering the most. Senator Stephen Armstrong's ideology and plans in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance provide a fascinating but grim exploration of extreme nationalism, social Darwinism and the war economy. His vision of a strong corruption-free America through violence and conflict contrasts sharply with real-world values of peace and human rights. This narrative highlights the dangers of radical ideologies and the complex interplay between economic, political, and social factors in shaping societies.